Alright guys, after 12 weeks, 3 months of covering The Ultimate Fighter, we are here for the final TUF recap. And if you guys have watched every single one, I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing so much support. Was there times or sometimes I came here after a boring episode of TUF and was like, hey man, I don't really want to cover this, nothing happened. I told myself no. I said, listen, you guys want to hear the recap, I gotta go back here, review the episode and talk about it. And now we are here doing this for the final time. I doubt I'll probably do it next season of TUF, unless it is another big matchup. If the next season of The Ultimate Fighter goes down a similar road as Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be covering that nor really even watching that. It's the final one, and this episode was a decent episode. It wasn't so bad. The final episode, we got the face-to-face as well. And I'm going to be giving my prediction on who do I think is going to win the finale this weekend, so tune in for that. But yeah, guys, before we get into the episode, I just want to remind you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're trying to hit 20K by the end of the year. Obviously, you guys know I've been trying to reach this goal for a while, so if you guys could just chip in and help out, it would really mean a lot to me. But yeah, this episode of The Ultimate Fighter, both Team Chandler and Team McGregor spent time with their own teams this episode. Michael Chandler went over the TUF house as they boiled some crawfish, which let me know in the comment section below. If any of you guys had this, like, how does this taste? Because me looking at it from someone, that lives in a big city like New York City, I'm not really used to seeing, people boiling up crawfish on their lawn, right? Most people here don't even have a lawn. So I'm curious, do any of you guys actually do this, or is it even good? Like, how does it, like, let me know in the comment section below. But regardless, Chandler had some crawfish with his team, while McGregor took his team out for a nice steak dinner, while also giving them $1,000 each worth of chips for the casino. And another thing, this episode right away showed McGregor really training Rico. If you guys will recall, Rico was the only guy from Team McGregor's prospect team to make it. Every other McGregor teammate lost in the opening fight. So you could tell McGregor really wanted Rico to win. He was training him as well as Chandler training his guy, Cody Gibson, who last had a flying knee knockout over Armando Gutierrez. That was, I believe, the second episode of the season. So yeah, so all in all, I thought it was fun to see Conor with his team, Chandler with his team. And then we get to the fight where, of course, you guys probably know already, Rico got dominated by Cody Gibson, had his back basically from the beginning of the fight. Rico says that he slipped, and Cody just got his back. Unlucky situation, lots of ground and pound, and eventually he transitioned into mount because Rico turned into Cody, and then Cody was able to get an arm triangle. And Cody must have a strong squeeze because he barely even moved to the opposite side of Rico before he tapped. Like, he just got to that side, and then all of a sudden Rico tapped. So man, that just shows Cody's definitely a strong guy, and he's going to be facing Katona. And now this matchup is interesting because another thing that happened in this episode was Katona and Cody Gibson had a lot of back and forth. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I don't like about The Ultimate Fighter, is that clearly that this has been an issue going on throughout the season. If you hear them talk, you could clearly tell that there's been some sort of issue going on throughout the season, yet this is the first time we're hearing about this. It would have been so cool, to have that build-up, have that drama going on so we could talk about, like, this is reality TV, like, bring in the drama. Like, is it cool to see fights in Conor McGregor and everything like that? Of course, but we also want drama. We barely got Steve McGregor and Chandler together, so it would have been nice to have some drama, but they only revealed this in the last episode. But yeah, apparently Katona and him have some beef. This is stemming from, I guess, Katona seeming like a diva. If you guys remember, this was kind of an issue a few episodes ago when Brad was on Michael Chandler's team. They were calling him a diva and this and that because he wanted to train a certain way. And yeah, Cody, I guess, doesn't really like him because of that. And now they're going to be facing off this Saturday, so there's actually some heat going into that matchup. Cody made it personal. And another matchup we're going to see is Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holobaugh. That is going to be taking place this weekend on the prelims of UFC 292. And McGregor and Chandler finally face off. And I didn't expect Conor to be so much taller than Chandler. The math isn't mathing here because, look, if you look at Poirier and Chandler facing off, they were about similar height. Then if you look at McGregor and Poirier, they were a similar height. But then when you look at McGregor and Chandler, McGregor's all of a sudden a lot taller than Michael Chandler. So I don't know, the math isn't mathing here. In my opinion, I think Conor wore some sort of high heel type shoes in his, dress shoes, while Michael Chandler was maybe wearing slides or something like that because he was wearing that whole coach attire. That's my guess, so I'm pretty sure that they're going to be similar height around the time of the fight. And unfortunately, we didn't hear any news of the fight date yet. I was hoping it was going to be at the end of the episode. Michael Chandler kind of teased something like that last night, basically saying, hey, like, to pay attention, that he would be confirming a date. Didn't happen, obviously, so we still don't know. In the dark, could happen December or January, that's my guess. Does give me hope, though, because I don't think a lot of people saw this, but he did post day 1 of training, so I guess this is a training camp, which to me, I mean, why would you be training this far ahead for January? You know what I mean? Like, of course you're going to be training, but this made it seem like this was the first day of training camp, which, to be fair, is still a pretty long training camp. August to December is pretty long. Usually these are like 2 to 3 months, while this is like closer to 4. But my guess is, yeah, I think Conor McGregor is going to fight either December or January. And yeah, before this video is done, I want to break down the TUF finale. Katona, Cody Gibson, as well as Kurt Holobaugh and Austin Hubbard. Now, everybody fighting is a veteran of the UFC. No prospect was able to make it to the finale. No surprise there. As you guys know, I have an issue. This whole season I've been saying prospects versus veterans has been done terribly. It was executed bad. I don't mind the idea. Rather than prospects versus veterans, it was more people starting MMA against guys that were were in their prime with UFC experience. Of course, the veterans are going to win, and I know a lot of people are going to make it seem like, oh, Conor's coaching made them lose, which you can argue, yes, maybe that played a part in it, but at the end of the day, I don't really think it played that much of a part in it. I think the fights would have happened regardless of who was on the team, but that's just my thing. I've been saying it the whole season. First of all, I'm going to start out with Cody Gibson and Brad Katona. I'm going to go with Brad Katona. I think Brad Katona, he's more well-rounded. He's got the amateur boxing experience. He looked really good against Timur Valiev. I think Cody's going to try to stand with him. I think he's going to try to hurt him. I think Cody's going to take it to the ground. I think he's going to mix it up. He's a very well-rounded guy. Plus, Cody was injured at the end of the show, and I just think Brad Katona is going to win. And my guess is by decision. I think he's going to win the Ultimate Fighter twice. I also want to talk about the lightweight fight between Austin Hubbard and Kurt Holobaugh. Now, this fight I'm excited for. This one is a little bit more of a toss-up, but I think I'm going to go with Kurt Holobaugh. But I don't know. This one is 50-50 in my opinion. Look, if it stays on the feet, I got Kurt Holobaugh. We saw him when he was fighting his fight. He took care of Jason Knight easily, right? He just battered him, and he's a really good striker. You know, he has a good chin, so I don't think Austin Hubbard is really going to hurt him, especially when you look at Austin Hubbard versus Roosevelt Robert. Very night and day type performances from both of them, because while Kurt Holobaugh had a really good performance, dominating, being super active, Austin Hubbard had a very close decision win over Roosevelt Roberts, where it was a very boring fight where he didn't really throw much. I think the big question mark here is the grappling. Look, we saw Kurt Holobaugh be dominated by Lee Hammond for most of their fight, so I think the takedown is there. I think if Austin wants to win that, I think he has to mix it up. I don't know if necessarily he wants to wrestle the whole time, but I think he's gonna have to mix it up, you know, throw some strikes, get a takedown, steal that round, and play very smart. But I'm gonna go with Kurt Holobaugh. I think he can do it. I think he's gonna push Austin Hubbard back. I think it's gonna help Kurt defend the takedown because Austin's gonna be going backwards. And yeah, this one could be a mistake. I could very much see Austin Hubbard also winning. However, I'm gonna go with Kurt Holobaugh. I think I'm gonna go by decision or maybe late TKO. I think it's gonna be like 29-28. I think it'll be a relatively close fight. I think we're gonna see Austin Hubbard get some control time, but I just think we're gonna see Kurt Holobaugh do the more damage. I think I'm gonna go with Kurt Holobaugh and Brad Katona winning this season of The Ultimate Fighter. Overall, guys, we spent since May covering The Ultimate Fighter basically the whole summer, and like I said in the beginning of the video, thank you guys if you guys watched every single recap, or even if you watched some of them, or even if you watched one, just thank you guys. Your comments mean a lot. I love talking to you guys about The Ultimate Fighter. Overall thoughts on the season, yeah, it was very disappointing. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it could have been done a lot better, like 10 million times better. Like if I did this thing, if I were the TUF producer, guys, you guys would have seen the best season of TUF. These guys do not know how to throw on a reality TV show. This has become about the fighters, not about the coaches. If you want it to be about the fighters, fine, but then get better fighters. Like I feel like if you want to watch a show about fighting just for the fighters, you watch Dana White Contender Series, right? And that's a great show, and I watch that every week. But for the Ultimate Fighter, I think you gotta throw in some spice in there. This is supposed to be for more casual fans, to get them familiar with up-and-coming fighters as well as the coaches, as well as getting them excited for a future fight. This didn't really do that, honestly. It didn't really get me so excited for McGregor and Chandler, even though there was that whole push and there was some sort of back and forth occasionally. I think the truth is that probably Chandler wasn't the best choice for the Ultimate Fighter, obviously. In terms of competitiveness, of course he was. He won all the fights, but I mean in entertainment value, you want someone to chirp back at Conor McGregor. You want someone to get Conor fired up. I said this from the beginning, Chandler was not the guy to do that. Chandler is going to be very respectful to Conor, and obviously, yeah, Conor's going to take his shots here and there, but it's not personal, man. Like if this was Dustin Poirier setting up a fourth fight with Conor McGregor, the rivalry, the back and forth would have been so intense. But even without that, like I just feel like you should have had McGregor and Chandler together a lot more, like how Uriah Faber and McGregor were. I feel like every episode of that Ultimate Fighter season, we saw McGregor and Faber together a lot. But honestly, I could count probably on 5 occasions where Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler were together if you're not counting those fights. And even that might be generous. There were some highs and there were a lot of lows. I think they really need to fix the structure of the Ultimate Fighter. I think that you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. You know, the time limit, the fact that you got to fit in 45 minutes, it sucks because some of these fights are 15 to 10 minutes long. At that point, you're only going to have 30 minutes of content. Like, of course you're not going to have any fun. And then how much of that content are you filling up, setting up the fighters and their backstory? Then how much time do you really have for Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, which is 99% of the reason why people were watching, which is why you saw a huge dip in rating from the first episode to, I guarantee you, the finale. And yeah, that's my rant so far, man. It sucked, honestly, this season of The Ultimate Fighter, and I'd probably give it like a C, dude. I mean, look, it had some fun. Do I regret watching it? No, not at all. I just think it could have been a lot better, especially when you have a guy like Conor McGregor, who is such a big showman and such a big trash talker. Yeah, there was a really wasted opportunity, but let me know what you guys thought of The Ultimate Fighter season. Guys, you guys are the best fan base in MMA, man, and man, like I said, thank you guys for watching the recaps. You guys mean a lot to me. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.